Okay, so Apple today became the first company to trade with a $1 trillion market capitalization, and that's a huge psychological milestone.
Apple, a company that started in a garage, has already become the world's most valuable tech giant. But now, the big question is, can it break the $5 trillion market cap barrier? Some analysts say it's inevitable, while others think the company's best growth days are behind it. With AI, augmented reality, and new product innovations on the horizon, Apple is gearing up for its next big leap. But is it enough? Is Apple still the best stock to hold in 2025 and beyond? Let's break it all down. Apple has already achieved what most companies can only dream of, crossing a $3 trillion market cap and cementing itself as the most valuable company in the world. But now, investors and analysts are wondering, can it go even higher? Can Apple actually hit $5 trillion? The short answer, it's possible, but it won't be easy. To get there, Apple will need to continue innovating, expanding its ecosystem, and leveraging new revenue streams beyond just the iPhone. Historically, Apple's success has been built on game-changing products like the Mac, iPod, iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, and AirPods. But to hit $5 trillion, it will need to prove that it can still redefine industries in the coming years. Whether that's through AI-powered software, augmented reality, financial services, or a completely new product category, Apple's ability to stay ahead of the curve will determine if it can reach this milestone. One of the biggest drivers of Apple's growth has been its services business, which has been growing at a faster rate than its hardware sales. The App Store, Apple Music, iCloud, Apple Pay, Apple TV Plus, and Apple Arcade have created a steady stream of recurring revenue, making Apple less dependent on new device sales. In 2023 alone, Apple's services division generated over $85 billion. And that number is only expected to grow as more people subscribe to its ecosystem. With over 2 billion active Apple devices in use worldwide, even a slight increase in average spending per user could add billions to Apple's bottom line. If Apple continues expanding into fintech with Apple Pay, Apple Card, and possibly a full-fledged banking service, it could open up a massive new revenue stream that brings it closer to the $5 trillion mark. However, there are major challenges Apple must overcome. The biggest concern is slowing iPhone sales. The iPhone has been Apple's biggest revenue driver for years, but global smartphone sales are maturing, and people are upgrading their devices less frequently. With many countries reaching smartphone saturation, Apple will need to find ways to convince users to upgrade more often or diversify its revenues beyond just hardware sales. This is where AI and augmented reality come in. Apple has been relatively quiet about its AI ambitions compared to companies like Microsoft and Google, but rumors suggest it's working on AI-driven features for iPhones, iPads, and Macs. If Apple can introduce revolutionary AI-powered devices and software enhancements, it could create new demand and boost its stock price further. So will Apple truly become a $5 trillion company? The potential is there, but it all depends on how well Apple navigates the next few years. If it continues to innovate, expands its services, dominates in AI, and successfully launches products like the Vision Pro AR headset, it could reach this milestone sooner than expected. But if regulatory challenges, economic downturns, or lack of innovation slow growth, Apple could struggle to maintain its current momentum. Either way, Apple remains one of the most influential and powerful companies in history, and its journey to $5 trillion will be one of the most fascinating stories in the stock market. So, what do you think? Is Apple headed for new heights, or has it reached its peak? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we'll be tracking every move Apple makes on its road to $5 trillion. Apple's path to $5 trillion. What's fueling the growth? Right now, Apple is sitting comfortably at a market cap of around $3 trillion, making it the most valuable publicly traded company in the world. But to reach $5 trillion, it needs to add another $2 trillion in market value. which is no small feat. So, where will this growth come from? First, we have AI and innovation. Apple is known for playing the long game, and while it hasn't been as aggressive as Microsoft or Google in AI, rumors suggest it's making major moves behind the scenes. With AI-powered enhancements in Siri, Apple's ecosystem, and even the iPhone, Apple could introduce game-changing features that set new standards in tech. Just imagine AI-powered iPhones that anticipate your needs, optimize battery life, and enhance user experience in ways we've never seen before. If Apple successfully integrates AI across its product lineup, it could drive a new wave of upgrades and consumer demand. Then there's Apple Vision Pro and the rise of augmented reality, AR. The metaverse hype might have faded, but Apple's entry into AR could reignite interest in next-gen computing. The Vision Pro headset is expected to be a game-changer in work, entertainment, and communication, opening up an entirely new revenue stream. If Apple manages to dominate the AR/VR market the same way it did with smartphones, tablets, and smartwatches, this alone could add hundreds of billions to its valuation. And let's not forget Apple's services business, which has become a money-printing machine. The App Store, Apple Music, iCloud, Apple TV Plus, and now the Apple Pay and FinTech expansion are generating recurring revenue that keeps growing every quarter. With over 2 billion active Apple devices in the world, even a small increase in subscription services per user could result in billions in extra revenue. The challenges. What could stop Apple from hitting $5 trillion? Of course, not everything is smooth sailing. The biggest challenge? Slowing iPhone sales. Let's face it, the iPhone has been Apple's cash cow for over a decade, but global smartphone sales are starting to plateau. If people upgrade their phones less frequently, Apple will need to rely more on other revenue sources to sustain its massive valuation. Another issue? Regulation and government scrutiny. Apple is facing antitrust investigations, lawsuits over App Store fees, and growing pressure to open up its ecosystem. If regulators force Apple to change how it does business, especially in terms of fees and exclusivity, it could impact profit margins and slow revenue growth. And then there's competition. Apple might be the king of premium devices, but companies like Samsung, Google, and Microsoft are making big moves in AI and cloud computing. If Apple doesn't innovate fast enough, it risks falling behind. Finally, we have macroeconomic factors. If we enter a recession, interest rates rise, or consumer spending slows down, Apple could face temporary setbacks in stock price growth, delaying its journey to $5 trillion. Final verdict. Will Apple become a $5 trillion company? So, is $5 trillion inevitable? The short answer, yes, but it won't happen overnight. Apple has the brand power, innovation pipeline, and loyal customer base to keep growing. But it needs to adapt to a world beyond just the iPhone. Where does that leave us? Can Apple hit $5 trillion, or is it wishful thinking? The reality is that Apple's future depends on execution. If it leverages AI effectively, dominates the AR market, grows its services revenue, and stays ahead of regulatory challenges, then $5 trillion isn't just possible, it's probable. However, if iPhone sales decline, new product launches flop, and regulatory issues intensify, then Apple may struggle to break past $3 to $4 trillion. Either way, Apple's next few years will be critical for investors and tech enthusiasts alike. What do you think? Is Apple on its way to making history, or is its growth story slowing down? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we're tracking every major move in tech and finance. Stay tuned. So, what do you think? Will Apple continue its historic growth and hit $5 trillion, or is this target too ambitious? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we're tracking all the biggest moves in tech and investing. See you in the next one.